judicial one. From the CEOs, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the South and band. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. On the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening in Monrovia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vonjema, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepan, gradually, my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, when you back today,
Spoon TV. Spoon.
yes, when you back today,
Spoon. Spoon TV. Spoon.
But she was senator of Maryland County. And I think the decision, the judgment, the ruling of the Supreme Court was profoundly sound. I mean, if we had any other ruling other than this, we would have been surprised.
Were you surprised for the initial?
The initial ruling left a lot of doubts. How can you say that male chromosomes were found in the fingernails of the deceased, and yet all those that were charged were females? So a lot of doubts, and that's why we appreciate the decision of the Supreme Court. As the people of Maryland County, as a family, we appreciate the decision that Musu Scott should be set free, and she will be set free. However, we're still not happy that the killer, the actual killer, is still alive. And so the county, the family will be pushing the Ministry of Justice to set in motion a framework that will identify, arrest, prosecute, and incarcerate the actual killers of Chavo Musu.
What would you like to say to two separate trials here? The jury trial and now the bench trial from the Supreme Court. Do you recommend jury trial in our judicial system?
No, definitely the Supreme Court is the last place. So all cases start with the lower case. Unless you appeal, then it comes to Supreme Court. So that's the way we should go. We have to strengthen the lower case, the courts. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much.
Gloria Scott! Gloria Scott! Gloria Scott! Gloria Scott! Gloria Scott! Gloria Scott! Gloria Scott!
From here, we will be making our way to the headquarters of the Liberia National Police. What are the will be sent to jail today. Well, we're going to follow up that. My name is Trokon Flammer. We are here on 16th Street in Cinco, where the former Chief Justice, the writ of arrest has been issued. 4 members of her family have all been arrested here by the Liberian National Police.
The former Chief Justice has been sentenced to life imprisonment.
The former Chief Justice has been sentenced to life
And
imprisonment.
3 others have been sentenced to life imprisonment. They are protesting the sentence. She's calling this an organized crime in connection with the police, the justice ministry, and the rest.
The cigarettes are pushing the price.
The correction facility bus. There she is. They are going.
She died by herself.
Did you recognize him?
When I encountered this person, I engaged their eyes and I put the pepper spray in their eyes because it was a question of life and death.
Do you
it was
think
a question of life
How
and death.
vicious was that?
To put the spray in the pepper spray in the
Your
person.
physical interaction with that person.
Yeah, my counsel then said I shouldn't speak anymore.
Madam Musu Scott, do you think there is any political motive to what happened? It's a tragedy that, Liberia lost her life. Will you stop when they return for another round of questioning, ma'am? Will there still be another round of questioning?
So, she's been prevented. I'm sorry.
So you think what was done at the oral code? They wrote.
They wanna go to Allah. They will not fair. Like the court want a fair decision today.
Who is Manaska to you?
Manaska is a female lawyer. Like the women that we are promoting. Are you understand it? Manaska, where she was Chief Justice before. Understand it?
Police, but she was Senator of Maryland County. And I think the decision, the judgment, the ruling of the Supreme Court was profoundly sound. I mean, if we had any other ruling other than this, we would have been surprised.
Were you surprised for the initial ruling?
The initial ruling left a lot of doubts. How can you say that male chromosomes were found in the fingernails of the deceased, and yet all those that were charged were female? So a lot of doubt, and that's why we appreciate the decision of the Supreme Court. As the people of Maryland County, as a family, we appreciate this decision. Councillor Scott should be set free, and she will be set free. However, we're still not happy that the killer, the actual killer, is still alive. And so the county, the family will be pushing the Ministry of Justice to set in motion a framework that will identify, arrest, prosecute, and incarcerate the actual killers of Charles Musu.
What would you like to say to the jury trial and now the bench trial from the Supreme Court? Will you recommend jury trial in our judicial system?
No, definitely the Supreme Court is the last place. So all cases start with the lower case. Unless you appeal, then it comes to the Supreme Court. So that's the way we should go. We have to strengthen the lower case, the courts. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes, what you got today? Go
Indeed, Spoon, this is Spoon radio station, Spoon television, this is the Spoon network, and this is the late night politics on Spoon. We'd like to say welcome. Thanks to all of you across the world for joining us tonight. It's a great way to welcome you to another edition of the program. The late night politics is back on the radio. As always, we are here live across the Spoon Network, Spoon FM 107.5 FM. We're live on Fabric 101.1 and Super 95.5 FM. Many thanks to our partner radio stations that are always relaying the program, our affiliate stations. Thanks to Trust FM there in um, Bombing County, Premium Radio in that's Bond County, Trend Radio in Grand Crew, and of course, Gibi FM in Kakatama, Gibi County. Is another great, great day in Liberia. And I'd like to welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us again. To uh, Thanks for joining us on the program. This is where we get to talk about Liberia. We discuss the issues, and of course, bring you the updates and give you the opportunity to have your say on those different issues. So, welcome again. My name is Nelson Kulen. We are live online. Thanks to all of you joining us already. We're on Facebook, Spoon TV, Fabric TV, and Super TV. We're also on YouTube, and the YouTube handle is Spoon Talk Live. Please share the show as you come on tonight. A lot is going on across the country. It's just very important that we share the show and have a great conversation here about our country. We love Liberia so dearly, and we'll always talk about Liberia. We'll always highlight the issues. We will always bring the issues to you as they unfold. And we all have this responsibility to make sure that Liberia does great and that this country moves ahead, and everything we do is geared towards making sure that either the policymakers are doing the right things, and the citizens are playing their part, and every single segment of the country get to play their respective roles well to making sure that Liberia is doing better. So thanks for joining us tonight. um Let me recognize a few of you in the comment section just before going in for the updates and bringing on the rest of the team here. So we start the conversation tonight. I see Yaya Davis has joined us. Thanks for being here tonight. Arthur Johnson says he's joining from Carisburg City. Thanks for being here tonight. Madam Ruth Goba is joining us from Charlotte, North Carolina tonight. May God Love Me is here tonight. Cole Manabala is joining us tonight from Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. Thanks for joining us. And I see darling boy. I don't know if it is the Francis kind of darling boy, but thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you a lot. Thanks for being part of the show. Yes, thanks for joining us here tonight. And let me go quickly. And welcome Emmanuel Lima is joining us tonight. Pedro, thanks for joining us. Lai Kanan is joining us tonight. Hannah Kolako is here. I see Hashim Family, as always, is joining us tonight from Grand Cape Mount County. Thanks for joining us tonight. I see Mantu Williams is here. Mantu, thanks for joining us. My own mom, Madam Joyce Clinton Hammond, thanks for joining us tonight. Mom, I appreciate you. I see Minnie Parker is here tonight. Michael Sirleaf. Michael, thanks for joining us tonight from the UN Drive. I saw you were very active out there today throughout the activities. I remember having an interaction with you today. Michael, thanks for being here. Yes, thanks to everyone for joining us. Let me bring in the final batch. I see Joseph Colley is here. Carlos is here as well. Tony L.S. Makabash. Yes, Makabush. Yes, hope I got your name right. Thanks for being here. Eddie Kawai is here tonight. Emmanuel Takpajua. This is the name. This is Francis' favorite name. He loves to pronounce this name, Emmanuel Takpajua. Nathaniel K. Hill is here tonight. Jerry Gitawe, I see you. Please share the program as you come on. Let's have a great show. It's a great edition of the late night show. You don't want to miss this. Cool Vibes is here tonight. Uriah has joined us. Johnson Moluwo has joined us as well. Hipko Kasi is here. Our own sister Lavette Bondo is here tonight. Thanks for joining us. Eric McGill from Atlanta, Georgia, always joining us. We appreciate you tonight. Aliu Fofana, James Sumo, and you can go on to call the rest of the names. Thanks to everyone for being here tonight. Noosh Noosh, Shelley's best friend. Thanks for joining us, Alice Band, and the rest of the folks joining us tonight. Let's hope we can have a great conversation. Today, Liberians witnessed, and some of you watched from a distance, the ruling from the High Court in the case of Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, overturning the ruling from the lower court today. The Supreme Court happens to be the final arbiter of justice, as you know. So once a ruling comes from the lower court, you can take an appeal to the higher court, to the Supreme Court, the highest decision making in the land. That court that has the power to overturn the decisions from all other courts across Liberia, but her decision cannot be overturned. That is the Supreme Court. So we saw Councillor Gloria Musu Scott being set free today, following the ruling from the Supreme Court on several grounds. There were a few issues raised by the Supreme Court, after which they overturned the ruling from the lower court today. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to go into the details of that particular happening today. And today we are going to give you more time. We are going to give you more time. Our people who stay up late, our people who take up their time to always follow this show, we're going to give you more time tonight to have your say, to express yourselves, to air your views, to talk about how you feel about these different happenings across the country. We will do that today. And I see a lot of people were very concerned and asking about the gracious rod versus the asset recovery team. And that ruling, it was case number 8. Well, it was being skipped today because following the ruling, once the Supreme Court handed down the ruling in the Gloria Musu Scott case, they adjourned. So it is expected that once they reconvene, that case will be revisited and the Supreme Court will be handing down a ruling in the case, the asset recovery team versus the gracious rod. This is one of the that's one of the cases that a lot of people are interested in as well, and the Supreme Court will be making a decision on that. And so on the flip side, a lot is happening across Liberia. Today, the President Joseph Yuma Boakai, launched the National Street Children Project through the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. That launch took place today at the EJS Ministerial Complex in Congo Town. And we will throw a little bit of light on that as well. And the Ministry of Labor says it has generated $5 million United States dollars in domestic revenue from January to July of 2024 compared to previous years. And that disclosure was made by the Labor Minister, Councillor Cooper Kura. That's according to him, what they've generated in revenue as an entity, as the Ministry of Labor. It is in the tune of some $5 million USD just from January to um, July. So this exceeds what has been generated in past times. If you were to compare it to this, he's saying that they've done tremendously well, and he said that the ministry has been able to collect 5 million in revenue from July, and there's a significant increase from 3.8 million United States dollars collected in the previous in the same period last year compared to now. So in the same period from January to July of last year, the Ministry of Labor collected something in the tune of some 3.8 million, but it has exceeded that. This year they're talking about 5 million. And so the Labor Ministry is saying, or the Minister of Labor is saying, that the increase in revenue is due to the tireless efforts that the employees of the ministry are carrying on to enforce the work permit regulation across the country, and to ensure that there is decent work activity at workplaces across Liberia. And this is very interesting. And he's assuring Liberians that efforts are being made. The Ministry of Labor, despite what they've collected, despite the gains that they've made so far, efforts are being made to improve the work permit regulation, particularly for ECOWAS citizens and all of that. And so they want to enhance the capacity. They want to train more people to increase the capacity of the inspectors and hearing officers at the Ministry of Labor across the country. And we look forward to seeing how this works, but this is what's coming from the Ministry of Labor. The minister is saying that the Central Bank of Liberia pulled up a release today, and there was some media report about some 20 million United States dollars that was sent to Ghana, to the bank, to the Ghanaian bank, the central bank there in Ghana. There has been some speculation, especially in the media, with respect to why the money was sent. Others had speculated prior to the CBL coming up with this report that the transaction was illegal. But the the Central Bank of Liberia then took to the airwaves today to clarify and to respond to media reports that the transaction was part of the regular banking procedure. There was nothing dubious about it. They confirmed, first of all, that yes, the 20 million was sent, but and it was exported from London to Ghana via the card, and so we'll bring you more details on this particular aspect, but just thought to throw that in real quick as we move on to other updates here from some of the happenings across the country. Yes, I know the case with Councillor Scott is, the headline news across the country based on how big that story is, but there's a whole lot more happening across the country. The National Road Fund, there has been some a little bit of tension there with respect to the the official taking over ceremony. Well, some of the workers at that entity, most of you may be aware that Representative Hassan Kazulu, the former representative of District 17, Montserrat County, took over. He was appointed there to serve as head of the National Road Fund. And following his appointment, the workers are saying that they will most times see Honorable Kazulu go to the mansion. He's been, but there hasn't been an official takeover, and they are demanding an official takeover as head of the National Road Fund. So they staged a protest at the president's rehab residence, and the protesters have been arguing that since the appointment of the former lawmaker, he has visited the mansion on several occasions, but there has been no sign for him to officially take over the entity. So they want that official ceremony to take place so that effective work will start there at the National Road Fund. And why this is happening, drugs remains a major challenge in Liberia. The officer in charge of the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency, Mr. Christopher Peters, is saying that in the short time, just within the few weeks or month that he has served there at the LDEA, the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency has convicted 13 drug dealers from Lofa, Ravaji, and Bapolo counties. So, according to him, those people who were arrested came from across those counties, and the time interval is from June to August of 2024. And so, the 13 individuals are currently undergoing investigation. So he's highlighting tremendous work being done there at the LDEA with respect to not just raiding the ghettos, but climbing down on the actual folks involved with this whole drug cartel across the country. So I want us to hold there. I want us to, I want us to stop here. Let me bring the rest of the team on as we have a lot to highlight tonight. So welcome to the show, Raymond. Let me bring to Ray. That's Sandy. Sandy, welcome to the show as well. You want to see the man running behind his computer? Yeah, that's why welcome to the show as well. And it's a good thing that we're here again tonight. Thanks to everyone for joining us. And I want us to just start the show. Let's start by doing our opening. Let's start with Swati, and then we'll go to Sandy, and then Raymond.
No, thank you, Nelson. And I want to appreciate you for the good job. I followed the broadcast today. I was like, yeah, Liberia is getting somewhere. And I want to say good evening to my fellow panelists, Raymond, and my good friend, brother, Jela Sandy, and to all women in Liberia. You know, I've always. Huh? I thought our feedback was coming from me. Sorry.
Your
But,
flicker is
guys,
still.
I don't know if it is Raymond, but Raymond, you have to mute.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
we
Thank you.
we overheard everything you guys were discussing. But go ahead.
Thank you, thank you. You know, sometimes some of these things happen. So, and nothing. My opening today has to do with the media. You know, I have problem with media institution, and I don't want to call it before it's appear denigrating because we're on another platform. I don't want the PUL to expel nothing, so or suspend. So here's the thing about the media. If we can come on the various media platform and discuss issues of concern, issues of corruption and some business thing, I think it is prudent as well. We have the courage and guts to sometimes checkmate how media has proceeded in our country. It will shock you to know that there are a series of media institutions in Liberia. Their editorial policy is very bad. And at the end of the day, when you look at why is it the editorial policies of various media institutions is like that, you will get to know that it's because of a political reason. It will You will want to find out for yourself that a media institution will be against the government or a political party just because the owner of that institution doesn't have any good relationship with that political party or an individual. And media should have a pivotal role to play in our nation progress, whether from the democratic standpoint or whatsoever standpoints that you want to talk about. So I just talked to Fleda, and I think our media institution need to refund their policies in terms of how they give news, how their basis information they give out there presented. Because obviously you're gonna see government official people making clarity on some of the basis information media institution gave because there are no due diligence. The ABC or journalism sometimes can be high. They can hide it under their various carpet or whatsoever play they put it. And it is bad for our country. And I
Thank you.
think that was on my mind. The media institution need to play a very pivotal and independent role in strengthening our democracies and all of these conversations. Thank you, Nelson.
Well, thanks a lot, Bila. That's a very critical issue right there. Um, Talking about the role of media, and you just lay it right. The media plays a pivotal role. The media has a very cardinal role when it comes to the nation building process. But again, we cannot close our eyes to the many challenges that the media is faced with. This is a noble profession, again, someone may argue, but uh, you have a situation where the media, some media institutions are being run by and owned by politicians. And those are places where the electoral policies would derive from. And regardless of how maybe professional you may want to be, sometimes when you find yourself in an environment that has a electoral policy that says A, B, and C, you don't go X, Y, and Z, because at the end of the day, um, you have to survive first, and then on the other hand, you have your profession. No, you have your survival on one end, and you have your profession or your professionalism on the other end. So it becomes a sticky issue all by itself.
Hey, resign,
And
brother.
and so this is where we are. But that's a great one. This is something I have so much interest in discussing, but at the appropriate time. Thank you very much, Bila. Jau, let's hear your opening, sir.
Well, Nelson, good evening. It's good to be here. Good evening to you, Raymond. Good evening to you, Soiree, and to those listening and or watching us. I apologize for my background. The young man yelling is my little one. I will control him here shortly. I want to start tonight by saying I want to say it is a good news for the Scott family, and Gloria Musu Scott and the family, and the three others that were, I believe, unjustly in prison were released today, and that's a good news. And while I celebrate this good news, I am also aware that justice has not been served for the late Shalom Musu. And now that the government had confirmed that Madame Gloria Musu Scott and the three others did not kill Shalom Musu Scott, we hope that there will be an ongoing investigation to show or tell us exactly who killed that young lady. But it's a good news for the family. I know her son appeared here several times discussing this case. Hopefully we can have him back here again to just let us know how he's feeling, because every time he came on the show, I was very concerned about his well-being and well-being of the family. I look forward to a great show and interacting with all of you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Raymond. Not Raymond. I don't know. Thank you, Sandy. And let's hear you, Raymond. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Go ahead, Raymond. Let's hear you, sir.
I can understand it's fatigue. You've been working all day. We follow you and Diamond and the others doing a very tedious job today. But first, let me begin by saying hello to my fellow panelists, to you, Nelson, the host who always here, no matter how hard your day was. And to our audience all over the world who always hear for this reason we are here. Too many things happen today, but the one that overshadowed every other thing is that of our former Chief Justice, the former chairperson of the Election Commission, a former senator who got accused intentionally, the real witch hunt, that a fake witch hunt people talking about. This is a real example of a witch hunt. Because she was a member of the Unity Party and a strong executive member, a strong member of the Unity Party, about to enter into an election year, who's also served as former election commissioner and understand the justice system. CDC hoping that they were going to end this whole election thing in the Supreme Court and never wanted someone with such influence and such knowledge out. They targeted her. We know the story. She reported to the then government of the attempted breaking into her house. And even that of her vehicle and her computer got stolen. Yet they paid no mind. But when her daughter got killed in her house, which a lot of Liberians believe was intended to assassinate her, she and her family got accused, even though the murder weapon wasn't seen. Even though a male DNA found under the nails of the deceased, 4 females were accused for murder, even though the jury were tampered with. A guilty verdict came upon her and the other accused, and they were into jail. Even though the evidence weren't strong to convict her, did not even exist to even mention weak or strong. But today, I believe, as we saw in the video footage given to us by Nelson and the likes and the others, we saw ordinary Liberians jubilating. We did not see an organized political party behind her, not even the Unity Party. We saw well-meaning Liberians who care about justice. And I listened to her remark. Her time in incarceration made her to realize there are too many Liberians who are incarcerated falsely or unjustly. But we thank God today the Supreme Court was able to serve justice in this case. And I think this is a victory for all who've been accused falsely, all those who've been targeted by people who got authority of state power to target people who are their opponents and put them in jail and abuse of power. But I
Thank you,
believe
Raymond.
this is just the
Raymond,
beginning.
this was just your opening, Raymond. Raymond, this was just your opening. I know you want to go into the issues tonight. You want to kickstart the conversation, but this was just meant to say hi to our people. This is your opening, Raymond. I know you came with a dark shade today for different reasons. Vasco is coming on with a very dark, with a darker one, in fact. And George says he's coming on with something super dark. So it's going to be a great conversation today. But what I can say is that most of you are aware that we've been hosting, we hosted a couple of times, Noah Scott, Mrs. Scott, one of the sons of Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, some time on the show. He had always expressed optimism about this day, a day like this coming to reality. So we thought to get him on at some point on the show. We're gonna have him on for just a few minutes, following the ruling today, and then let's get to hear his own take on this, everything that's happening today. But again, we're here tonight, and I want to say welcome to everyone. Let's have a great conversation tonight. The case is a very important thing, and we're going to end the show with the case. We're going to afford our folks more time today to call in and participate on the program tonight. But before doing that, I want us to look a little bit into something that has to do with Liberians. I know everything here concerns Liberians, but something that is tied to the livelihood, the lifeline of the ordinary Liberian, the labor issue, and what the labor minister is saying regarding labor issues in the country. Well, the labor minister has been speaking to the media lately. The last time we had the minister in the media before now, it was about the protest at the Ministry of Labor. It was about some of the employees raising concerns that they have fear of being taken off the payroll. In fact, they were hinted that some of them were about to be removed from the payroll following the verification or the hair count and all of the different processes that the CSA carry on at the Ministry of Labor. They were concerned about that. And so they decided to protest. Now, the minister came back to say that there is nothing such as a plan to remove you guys from the payroll. So there's no need to protest. Go back to work. He gave them hope. But this time around, the minister is saying that the Ministry of Labor, just from January to July, has been able to generate over 5 million or about 5 million United States dollars in revenue. 5 million United States dollars in revenue. How are they generating this money? Well, according to the minister, they have the work permit. They have the different labor regulations that they carry on across the country. And through these different processes, they've been able to reach out. They've been able to engage the active participants within the space. And in just 6 months, or a little over 6 months, they've been able to generate 5 million. In the previous year, given the same time, what was generated was 3.8 million. But this time around, it has increased. And he's attributing the increase to the tireless effort of labor employees, the workers across the Ministry of Labor who are working across Liberia to enforce the work permit and the labor regulations, better or decent working environment across the country. But guys, beyond just the media statement, beyond just a statement in the press, is decent work the reality of the actual Liberian? The average Liberian, the people who wake up every morning, go to the store boss, the people who wake up every morning and go to the Chinese stores, the Lebanese store, and work in those different places every single day, the people who work at the schools and all those smaller places across the country, the people who work at the different ministries, the agencies of government in the private sector, is decent work a reality for the average Liberian? What the minister is saying now, is this reason enough for Liberians to start to commend the minister or the Ministry of Labor that, oh, you've generated something enough? I mean, I want us to start a conversation from here. And let's start with Raymond, and then we're going to come to Cindy, and then go around the table. Raymond, can you hear me? Okay, it's like Raymond has some issues. Can you hear me, Raymond? But Raymond, you are muted. I think you have to unmute.
Okay, you hear me now?
Okay,
I thought
yes.
I muted myself with the mic. Can someone else go ahead? Let me just conclude something.
Okay, so yes, let's hear Bila on this one. Soiree, let's hear you, and then we're gonna go around the table.
Thank you. I want to appreciate the labor minister or the ministry entirely for the effort. But listen, there's a thing about labor issues in Liberia, and I just don't want it to be about generating revenue and other business things. But Liberians are suffering that country in terms of not being respected in regards to and getting the necessary attention in the labor field. People don't respect labor in Liberia. It was shocking to know that a Liberian work for, and I'm not trying to be saying Chinese and other people are not valued or being trying to more prioritize Liberian in the sector, in the labor, in the aspect of working in our country, right? But here's the facts. It will shock you to know that you will have Liberian working for other companies that has been abused several times. There are reports upon reports that Liberia has been abusing other sectors, even in the very government. The labor minister, the labor ministry, or the labor law has not been respected because people will work for what they deserve to have. The months ago, on the 15th, sometimes 2 months, 3 months ago. So let's start the conversation from the government angle itself before we go to private entity or where people find themselves. So I don't want us to, like I said, we appreciate the labor minister for generating the such amount that he talked about. But I want us to look at Liberians, people who in Liberia have worked over the past period of time, they haven't gotten to what they had to get. And the labor law has not been something that has been in their favor. It was shocking to know that somebody will carry their complaint to the labor ministry for a particular case. Then at the end of the day, you will, yeah, an assistant minister. I'm not saying that because we have heard people complain about it, but cases upon cases in that country, especially as related to labor issues, has gone to the ministry. Is that perpetually because that person do not
Thank
have
you.
the hand to
You
reach
you,
at
you
the
know,
issue at certain level?
and Bila, we want to go around this around the table with this conversation as fast as we can, but let me bring our brother on. He's a guest contributor tonight. Maximus Fambule. Thanks for joining us tonight. I remember the last time you joined us was sometime around the election. Was it around the election period or so? But it's good to have you on tonight. Thanks for joining us. You want to unmute? Let's hear you. Let's make sure your audio is good. No, you're not coming through at all. Maybe you have to log out and try to come back on. Yeah, your audio is not coming through. But Cindy, let's hear you on this one.
Honestly, Nelson, I think Bila Soare just hit the bullet on this. I mean, I read what the minister put out there. What he's determined to transform the ministry, which is good. Given his background as a counselor of law, given his experiences, I think he have good intent to do well for the ministry. What we want to see, however, is that extension to the actual workforce of Liberia. How do we extend that to the workforce? How do we respect our workforce, our labor? How do we make sure that they are respected? I tell you, in other countries that I've been to, folks, locals from the country when are working for, let's say, foreigners, for instance,
Yeah.
the foreigners are mandated to respect them. Now, you go to Liberia, it's usually the opposite, right? We got to ensure that our people are respected wherever they work and whoever they work for. Not only respected to get the right pay, but also respected in their various positions.
But in the first place, Cindy, the 5 million USD that the councillor is speaking about, that the labor minister is saying that they were able to generate in just 6 months, compared to 3.8 million in the same period last year. Is this something that's worth commending, despite the mountain of challenges we have with respect to labor issues across the country?
Yes, I mean, definitely, we must commend the ministry, and of course, the minister who is the head of that ministry for adding such amount to the Liberian revenue, or to our country revenue. So that's important. We can commend them for their work. Again, for me, I'm not going to compare to who's bringing higher amount, but for the fact that they are generating that much amount within a short period of time, that's great. That's great. We want to start seeing those things reflect across again, not just showing the figure like Bila said, right? But that must have some sort of reflection on the actual Liberians that are working. I don't want to focus on the dollars. I want to focus on the value, and that's where I want to take the discussion. Our
Okay.
labor in Liberia is not respected. I think our labor minister, while he's trying to generate more money, he must also direct his energy on ensuring that Liberians across the four corners of our country are respected wherever they work and whoever they work for. I have witnessed instances, not somebody telling me, but I've witnessed a couple instances of Liberians working for foreigners and in my presence being verbally abused and disrespected. We must ensure that Liberians working in our country, whether they work for private sectors or they work for government institutions, they must be respected, they must be honored, they must be paid rightfully. But yeah, we can say, Nelson, just to conclude, I thank the minister for the work he's doing to bring more money to the Liberian coffers.
Now, thank you, Sandy. Now, let me come to you, Raymond. The minister said they were able to generate this amount because the inspectors, the labor inspectors across the country are working tirelessly. And let's give our people a clearer understanding of this thing. The labor inspectors are the people who will visit the different workplaces. They will visit the concessionaires. They will visit those different mining sites. They will visit the different businesses across the country. They will visit the stores. They will visit offices. They will want to see the payroll of those different institutions, those entities. How much are those people paying the workforce? The Liberians who are working in those areas, how much are those people making? We know that the minimum wage in Liberia is $150 per month, the minimum wage. So if you were to do your tax deduction and all of that, on the average, someone is supposed to be working away with 150. That's the minimum, the lowest amount that any Liberian is supposed to make as per the law. But now you go back to some of the security firms we have in the country. Some of those guys will work, they will be in a court at about this time. Now in Liberia is 12:59 a.m., 1 minute to 1 a.m. Some of the guys will start work as early as 6 p.m. They'll work throughout the night up to 7 a.m. You look at a security guard, someone serving in the private sector, private security, and you give the man $75, or you paying the man $50. Now, in some cases, those security firms will go, and that's the business aspect of it. They will charge the client maybe $150 or $200 for per security. You give the man $50, $75. In some cases, the money will not come on time. Some of those guys will work 3-4 months, and not just in the private sector, but we have seen cases where some of those, even in government, would take to the street to protest because they're not being paid. What we're seeing coming from the Ministry of Labor here is it worth commending? Or should the labor ministry, the minister and his team, concentrate more on going deeper into solving this problem, the labor issues that Liberians are faced with? Now let's take on this issue, Raymond. Let me try to bring our brother back on. Go ahead.
So Nelson, we should begin by commending the labor minister for progress. You know, progress is anything positive done, irrespective of how gigantic the challenge is. So they say a journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. So the fact that progress has been made, meaning something good has been done, and there's a change in the approach or to provide solution. And yeah, you're right. You know, we all live in Liberia. We know what things are. I did a couple of construction work around Liberia. And one thing I'd never play around with is to only pay staff who work for me. Because come to think about it, everybody want bread. That's why we come out, that's why we go to school. And others who work with you in order to achieve that bread. If you starve them of bread, what have you brought to yourself? That's dishonesty. And I'm proud to say on this show that there's no one who have worked for me will come out and say Raymond robbed me or he cheated me of money. When you have that such a clear mind, you will be an advocate for others in such a situation. In the reference you just made about security, I live in Sinker. I live in a compound where we had a security firm providing us security. But we realized that those that were working for us would have to ask us for transportation. So we did some low deep digging and we realized what we were paying the firm and what we were paying. So we had to end the contract with the security firm and had to hire our own security because we thought there was too injustice. Just the administrative and overall management, the difference there was too huge. For those who were just giving us the service, they were not getting paid. And I work
Now,
also.
and so Raymond, the minister spoke of decent work. He said they're generating this money. They've been able to generate 5 million USD in just 6 months or a little over 6 months, based on the fact that those those inspectors are working tirelessly to ensure that there is decent work across the country. Now, and again, I go back to the question: is the conversation about decent work, is it a reality for the average Liberian? Is the average Liberian experiencing what the true meaning of decent work is?
No, Nelson, and this is what I wanted to go to before you came in. Look, when
Okay.
you work, I work as a counterpart engineer to many other foreign engineers in the country doing the exact same job. But the pay disparity, you and the person got the same TOR, but because they were employed from outside and you were employed in Liberia, the pay disparity is something you wish just changed overnight. And I also work in private sector in Liberia. As a matter of fact, we were building, rehabilitating the railroad that runs from Yekepa to that of Buchanan. There were many times labor inspectors came. And because I work on the project, I'm an engineer, I know where the shortcomings were. And we're even imposing on our people to pay attention to these things, but they were pushing us to get production work done. I mean, speed up with the tax. So some of the things we should have done, even to protect the environment. When labor inspectors come, you expect them to pick those things up. And sometimes from their engagement with you, you know they pick them up. But when the final report comes, you realize none of those things were in it. So even the labor inspectors in Liberia have been part and parcel of the problem. So that's why I commended this progress as a progress. And even though the issues are so enormous, but the fact that progress being made, we got to commend them. And when you're in a situation, you know the shortcomings. And when a labor inspector comes, you expect pressure on your entity that you work for. You expect those shortcomings to be corrected, and your boss call you say, "Yeah, Raymond, based on your advocacy, we got to do these things because we're Liberian working in Liberia, but we work for a foreign company, so we wanted the best." So some of those things that we know that got an adverse effect on our people and the environment, we're advocates for those things. But you're not a person to determine the scope of work and what you get done. You got a supervisor who also supervises you. So when the person said, "No, we're going to put our attention on this," you said, "No, but this is also an issue." So when a labor inspector came, you expected them to put the pressure so those things get solved. But it was shocking to some of us to realize that some of those things, as much as they pick up, but in their final report, those things were never mentioned. So you know there was some compromise along the way. And we
Thank you.
expect labor inspectors to do the right thing. Look, when you work in the public sector, you're not working for yourself in your belly. You're working for the nation. It's an opportunity given you. There are many other persons who could do it. But it's you at this moment who got this task to do. So do it and do it to your conscience and do it for all well meaning, for the general public. And that's what we
Thank you.
expect. And we hope that the labor ministry can be an advocate and can get things done. And the legislators as well. We need a decent work bill passed. We need every person who working in our country to get a decent take-home wage. It can't only be the few elected officials and the few politicians. The high-ranking wants to live well. Overnight, that we saw in the past 6 years, overnight we got millionaires where the average Liberian stay poor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Raymond. Let's take our brother family. Go ahead. Let's hear you, sir. Let's hear your take on this issue. You want to unmute?
All right, guys, you getting me now?
Yeah, we can hear
All
you.
right, thank you very much. Um, First of all, let me say, how's up, guys? It's a pleasure being on here with you guys. I've been following for a couple of times now, and I've been asking to come on. So thank you for the opportunity, Nelson. I appreciate it. Um, the issue of this labor situation, I think I read the report from the minister, and he said a lot of positive stuff. And one thing I really want to inject in that is the issue of education. Liberians over the years have accepted way too much about the issue of times are hard. Let me just hang on to this job. Many people don't know their worth, and anything they show to them, they just accept it because of poverty, because somebody wants to put food on the table for their family. And out of desperation, people just accept anything. And the labor law is only written in good letters, in good words, and everything is on the book, but people are not following them. And now the labor ministry have done so much to put people on the field, but those people they put on the field, are they really educated? Because right now I just think everything everybody doing is just to show, oh yeah, we're working, we're working, we're working. But the people who are working, who are the direct effect of the work, they are still complaining. So we agree, we are happy that you raised $5 million, but people back there, they are still fighting to get $50. Like the security firm, they sign a contract. People will go there, those who employ them will be paying their entities about $150, and then they will call them and give them $50. And somebody will work for a whole month and you give them $50. What can $50 do with the economy, with the current economy we are in? I mean, the labor law is nice, but the decent work bill will have to be passed. If the legislature pass them, the main place everybody should focus on is to enforce it. Make sure that everybody get their just wage, whatsoever
And let,
they work for.
and let me just say this: that whole decent work thing is no longer a bill. It has been passed. It's now the Decent Work Act. So at this stage, we should start to see that act being effectuated, being enforced. And that's why those inspectors are there. All right. So you take, for example, the least thing, the simplest thing that the Ministry of Labor, for example, can enforce that will have a trickle-down effect on the ordinary Liberians. Man Mary Manfinda, who got a husband doing security job, or who got a son working in the store with one Indian or Lebanese man. The simplest enforcement the labor ministry can do that will impact the lives of those people to improve their lives is the decent work. Right. Now, come to think about it. A contract is signed with a security firm. This client is paying $200 or $250. The security firm goes to work and pays this security who spends 8-9 hours in the dock. You give them $50 or you give them $75. You want to look at the gap? Does it meet up with what the requirement is in terms of what the minimum wage is supposed to be for Liberians? Again, we have our brother Musu Scott in the background. We're about to bring him on, and once we have him on, then we'll transition. So I just want to get Francis to come in to lend his thought on this conversation. Then we'll bring our brother on. Go ahead, Francis.
Yeah, guys, it's good to be here. Good morning to our folks in Liberia and wherever you follow us from. Nelson, I mean, it's always good when you hear the government is generating funds, but also scary when we hear the government is generating funds. Because it's one thing to generate the money, but is it going to its intended purpose? You see, but and you talk about labor, you guys will talk about labor laws and decent work act. The major violators of the labor law in the country is the government of Liberia. So what will ever be done about that when they are the people that are supposed to enforce the law, supposed to crack down on people that violate the labor law? They are the number one, the chief violators of the law. So nothing is going to change over there. Raising the money, yeah, is good. We'll clap for every little drop of water make a mighty ocean. But that money now, where is it going to go? Where is it going? That's the question. Because we know in Liberia, to raise money is not hard. But does the ordinary thing, like you talk about my matter, are they being impacted? Are they feeling the impact of whatever fund that are being raised or generated by any of these entities? And then we all, it's like playing a broken record. Every time we talk about some kind of progress, something happening, it's happening in and around Montserrat County. Until we can start to generate serious income for other counties, or other counties start to contribute to the pot, Liberia will always be like this.
Thank you.
Liberia will always be like this. So, I mean, just to end up, the government of Liberia need to be disciplined when it comes to enforcing the labor law. She herself need to stop violating that law. People can't work and you don't pay them for 3 months or 4 months. That's a major violation.
Thank you very much, Francis. Now, we are making a transition now. A lot of you followed the big news in the country today. The former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, former Justice Minister, former Senator of Montserrat County, Councilor Gloria Musu Scott, was set free today by the highest court in the land. The ruling from the lower court was overturned by the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. Today, Liberians across the world watched through different channels Councilor Scott being escorted out of the Monrovia Central Prison today. And so over the time we've been hosting Noah Scott, who happens to be a brother to Charlo Musu and one of the sons of Councilor Gloria Musu Scott. We want to bring him on briefly, and let's get to hear from him following the ruling today, and then we can kickstart the conversation from here, guys. So, Mr. Scott, I want to say welcome to the Late Night Show. It's a pleasure to have you on tonight, and as always, we appreciate the fact that you're on and you accepted our invite on a very short notice tonight.
Yes, Nelson, and everyone else in on this platform, everybody worldwide, Liberia, abroad. It is a day that we believed in. We believed in the justice systems of Liberia's judicial system. There are a few bad apples, but we've always believed that the people who jobs were there to protect the Constitution of the country and the citizens of the country, regardless of their political background, we're going to step up and do the right thing. So today, we're grateful to God. We're thankful for all the support we received throughout the time. And we're victorious. But it's sad that we had to go through all of this. We know who was behind this thing from the very beginning. They were playing unfair. There were people that should have been doing their jobs throughout this whole process, throughout the case, throughout the trials, that did not. We had the judge. It was clear that he was biased. It's just so many things. But where we are right now today, to say, Gloria Maya Musu Scott, Honorable Gloria Maya Musu Scott and her family versus the Republic of Liberia, we won, right? This is not just for us, it's for all Liberians, for the common man. and woman, and it shows that our Constitution was written by solid geniuses from back then, and it still stands strong to today's date. We're just grateful for it all. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, everyone else, for standing with us through it. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome to the show. And guys, can we all mute? I'm hearing a terrible. I don't know where it's coming from, but um,
Is it from my end?
it's
I don't know if I need to.
okay. No, I think it's much better now. There's
Okay.
this terrible sound coming through. So maybe some of the folks just said, but do you have any gadget on? Do you have the TV or anything on? Anything else
No,
other
no, it's just for some reason it seemed like whenever I come on, there is some echo issue, but I don't know. Is it better now? Or is it the same?
I mean, it's
Okay,
okay now.
so
The echo is
I
gone.
think I think it's okay now.
Okay.
I think it's yeah. So what we saw today was Liberians celebrating. Liberians, a lot of folks were in a very jubilant mood today. Family members, well wishers of Councillor Gloria Musu Scott trooped in today on the grounds of the Temple of Justice and even at the Monrovia Central Prison to see her be released today.
Yeah.
The next question that a lot of people are asking is, Chalo Musu,
Yes.
I want you to give us an idea of what the atmosphere is right now, especially what does it look like for the family right now, now that Councillor Gloria Musu Scott is now free and the family has gone back home. But you look around in the very home where Chalo Musu once lived, you can see her around. What is it like for the family at this point? And what is the family contemplating on, especially in terms of getting justice for Chalo Musu?
So it's not over. This is the first step, right? The people, shout out to Don't Buy Hero, I know he's watching, that were behind all of this and orchestrated all of this. They did everything they could in their power to not have us get to this point. We're here now. First thing is, and Oma, she's fierce. So we rest, and now is the time to pursue the murderer and everyone else that's connected and contributed to this. Again, shout out to Don't Buy Hero. We will find the murderer. We have a male's DNA. We have other information. Shout out to Don't Buy Hero. But we will find the murderer, and Chalo's blood was not spilled for free. Shout out to Don't Buy Hero. And those are the things that we want to be clear. It is sad right now. We believe Chalo is with us in spirit. I wish some people had the opportunity to meet her in person and see that just from just her whole aura, the way she is, the way she moves, and to grow up with her and have her in the household. She still is with us. She still is in this fight together. Now, it's time that we pursue the people who are actually responsible for her death, the ones that were behind the scene or even in front of the scene, pushing this whole conspiracy and funding all of it. Shout out to Don't Buy Hero. But we are coming and we're going after them. You will not come into our house, attack our family, murder our sister, and think this is over because you've created this smoke storm and think we're walking away from it. We're inside. From now to the end of the kingdom come, from generations to generations. We never bother anyone, but they came up, they attacked us, and they've tortured us for this time. Now the hunted becomes the hunter. Shout out to Don't Buy Hero.
Well, Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to go across the table. Is there anyone on set who want to say something? You have a question or you have some comments to make? We thought to bring our brother on just briefly, and because this was on a very short notice. Since Ture is just joining us, I like Ture to come in. Ture, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. I'm Nelson. Yeah, bro, Scott, man, welcome back, bro. Obviously, I
Thank you.
know, this is obviously, a side relief for you and your family because on one hand, the Oman is out, and and obviously some of your siblings and stuff like that. But then on the other hand, you still have, a love sister that they have to now start seeking for justice for. Um, but overall, man, I mean, you have obviously spoke on stuff that we all kind of like agree with you. See, from the start when you made those appearances here, we knew this was something that was orchestrated. A lot of conspiracies, obviously. But now, what's what's tomorrow like? I mean, and I know very well you have touched base on that you guys gonna pursue justice for his sister, obviously. Um, but not to get into detail of that, but what will be some of the steps, in seeking that justice?
The murderer is still out there. We've always maintained that. Shout out to Don't Buy Hero and his people. I think they know that as well. The murderer is still out there. Liberians are not safe because if someone can commit a crime like that and they're on the loose, we have to pursue them. The government. So at the end of the day, we're happy where we are right now. Our family is out of that prison. But yeah, that's the next step. That's the next step. So yeah, we inside. We inside.
Thank
Just when you look at it all, from everything they've done, everything what we've been through, it is. The feeling that it gave me, I think I even mentioned it on here, growing up and seeing how much my mother fought for the country, the common man, and to have individuals for whichever reason it is, political or whatever their reasons were, that they thought that the best thing was to do was to attack us and try to eliminate people. Primitive way of thinking. Shout out to Don't Buy Hero, but now we're here, and the goal is to, again, our sister's death is not going to be in vain. We didn't bother anyone. My mother she's always been that person. Look at me using ST like Don't Buy Hero, but she's always been that person to always fight for the common man, and we're just grateful to be here that she's where she is right now, and we're going on to the next step. It was so disrespectful sometimes when I seen, Don't Buy Hero and his people were pretending to say, oh, justice for Chalo, and we care for Chalo. But those were the same people that, were posting photos of her, nude photos of her, of a dead body, being disrespectful of the same Chalo that they were pretending to claim that they care so much for her, and they wanted to seek her justice. Shout out to Don't Buy Hero, but we too want justice for Chalo. We too will find justice for Chalo. Shout out to Don't Buy Hero.
Well,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Okay, Bila, you want to just come in? Sandy, is it a question? Okay, so let's take Sandy and Bila, then we let our brother go, and then we can continue with the rest of the show. Bila,
I
go
was just
ahead.
gonna
Let's
let
hear
him
you.
comment, but anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
yeah.
Let's take Bila, then Sandy, you will come in next.
And thank you for being here, brother Scott. And I want to say thanks for your maturity you play during this time. It was somehow sad, it was disheartening, but I want to appreciate you for your level of maturity you bring to the kids. And all of the time when I listen to you, you say justice will prevail and we hang out to God. And this is one of the day in our life we actually pray God for. But I listened to the former Justice Minister, sorry, the former Chief Justice, right? Yamal.
Yeah, also
And
justice.
her interview clearly tells me that there are people into prison that do not deserve to be in there. And that clearly draw a picture to me. And she said, if what happened now can happen to a little of me, a little of my crowd, serve the government, serve government upon government. What about the poor men out there? So what can you say to Liberians that are going through this kind of a circumstances, like similar thing your mom went through, right? What can you say to them? They in prison, they going through some legal remedy that they are not getting a conclusive, logical, conclusive ending to their
Yeah.
cases. What can you say to them in regards to courage, like the same courage you took?
Yes, yes, and thank you very much for the kind words. When we think about, I think that goes back to so many things in the country that needs attention, and that's one of it. There are people in that are sitting there and waiting on their case to their trial, and have never received anything yet. They're just sitting there. They're just sitting and waiting. So haven't had the opportunity to go and defend themselves, haven't had the opportunity to maybe even take their case up to the Supreme Court. So there's so much. There's so much. And then we have judges like the judge we dealt with, right? That was like just bias, just against us with everything. I can give one example where, the government at the time, their prosecutor was saying they had proof, right? They had this, they had fingerprints, they had all of that. And when we were asked, because the men are just all of them dull. And when our lawyer will corner them, the judge will overrule, so that they don't even have to answer the question, so that the witnesses would not have to answer the questions. There's so many things, but we've always trusted in the justice system. I mean, when you think about this today, what happened? The justices in the Supreme Court, mostly appointed by CDC-led government, right? Those are the people that looked at everything that was given to them, right? All the details in front of them, given to them. Now, keep in mind, when we went through this trial, they had the upper hand. They harassed us every day, dragged us to the police station, all type of tactics of torturing us. So they had everything, and all of the quote unquote evidence and everything, the reason why they said we were guilty, they gave that to the Supreme Court. CDC-led, majority CDC appointed justices. They looked at it and upheld the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, right? And for that, oh man, it is, I feel I'm full, because we've always believed in the justice system. There were some people that were bribed, and I mean, my opinion, but when it got to the highest of the judicial system, the Constitution prevailed.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Sandy, you want to make your comment, or then we?
Yeah, it's going to be a very brief comment. Scott, again, it's good to see you. I mean, every one of us watched the coverage today, and I was very emotional. And I just, want to say we thank God for the release of your mother and the family, the 3 other family members. I too want to get justice for your sister. I don't think the release of the family today means justice for her. I think it's beyond that. The good news is that the family is back home to you. But I will hope now that the next step from the Liberian government and from the family is to really pursue the case and ensure that she get justice. But justice will mean justice for people whose lives were lost during any of the regimes, whether former regimes, current regimes, or our country, that cases were not solved. So we really need justice for her. So I don't have much to say. I just want to say congratulations to you. I know how hard you have worked on this, and I hope this brings relief to you and to the rest of the family.
Thank you very much. And it's brought relief to us. But we know it's just, as I was saying before, I don't want to move. And a minute, let me thought in a minute in football term. Y'all score for a goal, y'all doing all that thing, your referee was cheating. But then went to overtime. The minute, all of them, the minute dull, broad daylight, they were violating all the rules and everything in the country. All of it. You go visit that. How long have these people been practicing law that know that you're not supposed to tamper with the jurors? And you did that. The judge allowed you to do it, fining $200. Man, and all of y'all did dog. We're coming for y'all. Our sisters' blood was not spilled in vain. It's not for free. I've always said that. We've always maintained that. Right now, we're taking a small break. At halftime now, we're coming back. That second leg. I'm gonna talk to you in football term. Y'all can understand it.
Thank you. Well,
Okay.
thanks
Man,
a
I
lot.
got one question, man. I have a question about like you want me to
Okay,
ask
Moba, go ahead.
you another time. Yeah, man, I'm much, but anyway, thank you, Nelson, for giving me the opportunity. And my brother, Mr. Scott, thank you, and for appearing on the show. I think for the third or fourth time. My question to you is, like we understand all the evidence. I know you guys, like for you, you're working along with probably with a lawyer or something. I know you're forced to answer it, but I just want to, put it out there. So all the evidence you guys paddle, like the fingerprint, the blood, the DNA, all those evidence. So as we speak now, based on the evidence, that's where you guys will start. I mean, probably begin the case, or you guys going to probably try to do new, start a new investigation with a new, probably investigator who will go on the scene again and do another autopsy, or probably take the body or do autopsy or other stuff.
Well, yeah, part of that we don't control, right? But we trust in the people now that are in place that they will be fair and they will do the right thing. And so the evidence and everything that the previous administration gathered, the current administration and government and the people that are supposed to protect and serve the people of Liberia, they have those. And we expect that they will follow through. But we also have a DNA under the fingernails. Now, keep in mind, let me just tell you a small tip of it. When they had their pathologist, they went out of their way to remove all her fingernails and everything so that there would have been no way we would have been able to access and find the DNA that we did find. But God can't sleep. We were still able to get that DNA when our pathologist came into the country. So even though they attempted to remove all of that, so we weren't able to find the person that actually engaged Chalo or Chalo engaged, but we have that. So whatever the people that are responsible to investigate and pursue the true murderers, we'll turn it over. And we trust in the justice system of the Republic of Liberia that they would do what they're supposed to do. But and we know the murderers and all of the parties involved, whether from Domba Hero or even above or whomever else that was involved in this and been involved in all of the other all of the killings in our country. They're coming for you. Shout out to Domba Hero.
Okay, Francis will be final.
Yeah, I didn't want to ask anything, but you mentioned something just now that prompted my question, because I know we all know you guys will continue the investigation, but you just mentioned you guys have DNA evidence. Did you guys share that also with the prosecutors, with the state?
Again, right now we're resting, but all of we have the prosecution, they will have it as well, or the investigators. So we'll leave it up to them, and we trust.
The only reason I ask that question is because we don't want down the line if you guys happen to come out and say, "Oh, this is John Brown's DNA," then it says something that you guys fabricated. But once the state already have a copy of that, then it can be something that you guys made up down the line. That's the reason I asked that question.
Thank you, and thank you for that. There are lots of things that we have and that we're going to share that I cannot discuss. But I also want to speak directly to your comment, whether if it's down the line or today. or it was 1 year back, people are still going to say what they say, right? They're going to still have their opinion. And at this point, I care less. I'm not going to have any exchanges with people. Again, the highest of the highest in our country, the judicial system, the Supreme Court, majority CDC appointed people looked at everything and set us free. I can care less about what someone else is thinking, whether they believe this or they believe that. A minute door. So we don't care. We come and there's so much that is happening behind the scene. I cannot discuss or disclose, but rest assured, we will find the murderer, the people who planned it, the people who funded it, the people who executed it. You didn't murder our sister for free, my man.
Thank you.
So Nelson,
Well,
there's two panelists left. I will advocate that you just let everyone have a round. Just only two panelists left.
Advocacy is denied. Advocacy denied.
Nelson, don't do
Injustice.
that. Don't do that.
Injustice.
It's a threat to justice everywhere.
So okay, so let's give you Famole the time to make a comment, and then Raymond. Raymond is trying to make his way around this issue. I can understand where he's coming from.
Raymond is just trying to balance everything now. But anyways, I just want to say I admire your resilience.
Thank you.
From the beginning, from the inception, since I saw you the last time on the show, I was moved. And I want to say that indeed there's a God. I listened to your mom and everything was so powerful. She was on the Psalms and I was like, wow, there's truly a God. And so the only thing I just want to point out here is that I just wish that this case would not be like our everyday Liberian story where things does not reach a conclusive end. Things just come up, it will take few time, we talk about it, and then it just go down. We just hope that this go as far as bringing the perpetrator to book and let everyone see that yes, indeed, God worked and justice was served. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Mr. Fambule. But I want to say and just respond to that statement. I think the people who plan the attack, who carry out the attack, and those same ones were the ones that came up with this conspiracy and used the government's funds to pursue my family. I think they themselves know who they're dealing with, right? The Honorable Gloria Musu Scott. It will not go away. We will not go away. That group of blood runs through all of our veins. We didn't ask for it, but they came at us. We will see it to the end. Whether Liberian people get tired talking about it, or whether on the news or the radio, and now on the radio, we will pursue them. You will not spill our family's blood in vain. And I'm saying that, and I mean it. We mean it. So, no, my brother, this is not going to go in vain.
Thank you. Raymond, finally.
My brother Scout, I agree with you. This is a declaration of war when someone coming to your house and spill the blood of your family member. God has given you that right to stand up for yourself. And I thank you for the level at which you stood up all through this situation. And I saw your mom today. I can see that to an extent she's broken. The way she went in, and right now she's not the same, but thank God we got her. And let me let you know, I got to know your sister Charlotte. And I know the kind of person. I never interacted with her much, but when you interact with people, I knew that she was courageous. I knew that she had an ambition. That she had a big spirit. I knew she was outspoken. She stood up. She expressed herself. So I could understand in that given scenario, she would be the one to confront whoever came into the breaking, because I knew the kind of personality she was by the little interaction I had with her. And I believe that she stayed fighting. Her blood still cries to God. And I believe that God's hands was in what happened today. Because God does not love injustice. And He doesn't tolerate the abuse of power. And I believe, like you said, it does not only answer to Gunpowder Hero. Gunpowder Hero had a boss. And the boss knew all that was going on. I believe God's justice is slow, but it's sure.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you very much for your support and so you knew Chalo and I would say I disagree. Most people throughout this whole process haven't really seen the Honorable Gloria Musu Scott in action. She's not broken. Trust and believe that. The conditions in that place the conditions were harsh. She's not broken. If anyone is thinking so, Yiswa, come and see. But won't come in all I can say.
And I'm
Well,
glad to hear that.
well, again, we want to say thank you for availing yourself to be here tonight, Mr. Scott. We appreciate you, brother, and thanks for coming on here. Prior to now, before now, we hosted you a couple of times. You engaged, you interact with the Liberian people, even when the ruling from the lower court was handed down. We had you here as well, so we thought that it was necessary to bring you back on, especially at this particular stage of the case where there's a ruling from the Supreme Court. And again, we say thank you for being here, and as always, you are welcome here anytime.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you to every one of you. Thank you to Spoon, everybody. Even one time I went even on their radio station too. I said shout out to them and Don't Buy Hero and everybody that was behind the scene when I went on their channel as well. Thank you to everyone for giving us the platform for us to at least speak from our perspective. But we're still inside it. So thank you, everyone. Nelson, many thanks to you, my brother. You're just the whole team. You guys are truly, 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 truly the real ones. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Well, folks, that's how we like to um, end up right there. We thought to avail to give more time to our folks out there to express themselves today. But I want us to take just 1 minute across the table, at most 1 minute 30 seconds, to just hear your own analysis around everything today. Let's start from onset. Then we can give the rest of the show time to our audience, people across Radio Lane, to call and just weigh in their thoughts. And guys, I want us to be as brief as we can so as to give more time to our folks out there. So let's go around the table. We'll take Toure and Moba first because they are the two last guys who joined the show, and then the rest of you.
All right. Next thing, let me follow my ritual. Let me say hi to our followers. And to the panelists, guys. Hello to you all. Nelson, what we saw today is that justice was served. And Nelson, don't take it from me. Take it from every serious minded Liberian out there that actually saw this case play out in public like the way it did. You know very well that it was not professionally orchestrated. There were a lot of like lackadaisical approach to many of the processes, the tempering of the juries and all of that stuff. These things play out, right? There is no way that anybody, any rational person, could have seen that situation play out the way it played, from visibly negligence on so many levels, that will see that case and say, you know what, justice was done. The justice of and score of a family were actually in prison for the alleged murder, because that's how I'm going to look at it, right? And then
yeah, okay. Lay your thoughts. I just want to read the count on which the Supreme Court overturned the decision from the lower court today, and then we can continue. But you want to lay your thoughts on that just before I read?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me let my thought. Then even though I would have loved for you to have read that from the get go, but I would just close on this. But Nelson, look at the deliberation from the Chief Justice today.
What did she say? I mean, if you're reading those things, you know very well that there was absolutely some gross, elementary, negligence done on the part of whosoever that already you know what I mean? Because all of the evidence that were presented, that the indictment were based on, these evidence were so elementary with absolute like no support. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it is, and that's why that's how unserious this part government was. So I'm telling you, anybody we know very well that this thing will play politically motivated. I'll following the show. Our brother Raymond went in depth with it, how these things were going to play out. Right? We knew that Omar was a target. We knew that, right? And look, just looking at it from somebody who you raised, you bred, you meant to be somebody that you are going, you know what I mean? Like put that person on harm way. That thing did not make sense to me yesterday. It still didn't make sense to me for all of that time. And today I'm glad that a serious government is now in charge, and that serious government was able to actually orchestrate a move that we have someone that we all can say today that she's free, and now the fight goes on. Because I'm telling you, man, the way I saw that woman today, she's coming for virgins, bro. And I'm
Thank you.
sitting and waiting for all of it. Thank you
Thank
very
you. Thank you very much, Ture. And it's very important to state here that the court um overturned the ruling. The Supreme Court overturned the ruling from the lower court today of 4 counts. Number one, that the prosecution failed to produce the weapon that was used to carry on the act. So the prosecution had argued throughout along this during in the process during the case that um, there was a weapon used. Charlo was stabbed multiple times, and the prosecution failed to provide the weapon that was used 9 times. That's what they have in the report, but the prosecution failed to provide it. So the second count was the prosecution failed to convince the Supreme Court or to state exactly what the role of the 4 individuals convicted were. What specific role did those 4 individuals play? Because if 4 persons are in the house, there was a weapon used to carry on the act. The 4 persons, according to the guilty verdict from the lower court, stabbed Charlo 9 times. What specific role did the 4 persons play? The prosecution could not convince the Supreme Court on that. They could not state that. The third count was the DNA. You know that the prosecution brought in her own DNA, the librarian DNA, and you had the family bringing the international pathologist, and the family had the prosecution had their own pathologist, not DNA. So the the state pathologist said he conducted his autopsy and there was no male DNA. The pathologist from the family said he conducted his autopsy and he found male DNA. There and then, the state pathologist said, "Oh, he saw male DNA, but he decided to disregard and stuff like that." That was the third count on which the Supreme Court overturned the ruling, and the fourth count was that the the state admitted, or the prosecution admitted, that the home of Councillor Gloria Musu Scott was broken into, or burglarized twice. They admitted. And so, based on those counts, the Supreme Court set Councillor Gloria Musu Scott free. Something was convoluted in the words of Toure. The pieces of evidence were not corresponding. Something was not well. How do the guys say corroborating, right? So
Yeah.
Corroborating.
end of the day,
We're not corroborating.
Yeah.
The evidence were jubu jubu.
so at the end of the day, the Supreme Court overturned the decision from the lower court. I just thought to throw that in, and then we can go around the table. We have to give some time to our folks to, make that. So, Moba, you can go ahead. Take your 1 minute 30 seconds, and we can then take Raymond, Francis, our brother family, and then Bida will be last.
Yeah, thank you, Nelson. Thank you to all our listeners. Look, Nelson, the case from the beginning we came on the show, we pull a lot of points out there. We stress a lot of points out there, and people understand what we were. I mean, like where we were coming from. If you look at the entire case, under the CDC within the last, let's say, 2 or 3 months, why they was speeding with the case, because we all know that they want to force the family in prison so they can say, oh yeah, Joria did justice before he left power. And end of the day, what happened? A lot of people who were involved, they left. But there's a real part of the whole story, the evidence. We are living in a world, we live in a 21st century that everything we do, right? Like when you go somewhere, your fingerprint will lead there. Your DNA. Your DNA and my DNA will not match. Your fingerprint and my fingerprint will not match. So the evidence alone that the defendant get rather, the case is over. All I want for the defendant to do, look for a good lawyer, pursue the case, take your evidence. Because according to them, they say they got DNA and probably didn't get fingerprint, because in Liberia we don't detect fingerprint. Probably I started bringing pathology from in the United States that would detect
But,
it off the pen.
there's also already an
Yeah.
international pathologist who was brought into the country.
Yeah, to do the DNA, right? To do the DNA. Yeah. So now, Nelson is an open case. All they need to do, since they say the family were involved, all they need to do, let the state take its course by bringing on international pathology to carry on another DNA with the family and clear them out, right?
No, at the moment they are cleared out. There will be
okay. I don't want to make that clarity.
No, at the moment they are cleared out. There will be nothing such as
very good.
Another trial of Councillor Gloria Musu Scott in this case with Charles Musu. No, it's not going to happen.
No, the reason Nelson
the case is done. Once the Supreme Court hand down a ruling, that thing is over. If there will be another thing arising, then maybe it will be probably the state trying to get justice for Charles Musu, or the family trying to get justice for Charles Musu. Another investigation can start from there, but nothing.
I agree. You know the reason why I bring it up, because we want to take the doubt from in the mind of other people who think that the case, be here behind the case, and they wanted for the woman to be free, but they look at the justice part of the case.
Thank you.
So let me conclude now. My 1 minute 30 minutes.
Yeah, 1 minute I'm gonna finish. Yeah. Thank you, Moba. Thank you. Let's take Raymond. Raymond, go ahead. This case we're talking about, Raymond, over 100,000 taxpayers' money was spent or used on this particular case. That's how much the prosecution requested to get this case going on. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Moba, could you please mute your mic? There's some background sound. So this was a conspiracy, and it's glaring. The evidence were manufactured. That's what 150,000+, as I heard, was used to get the prosecution to prosecute this case. Like I said, this is politically motivated. This is the definition of a witch hunt. where you target someone because of their political attachment. You target them because you got an interest. You know you come into elections and you know all the person expertise. You know how much it could come back to fight for justice. So the CDC played this out. And we know how they abuse power and their authority. We know what happened to our national coffers. So this is just a clear example of what the CDC did when they were in power. But thank God we're in the 21st century. What's his name said? Moba said, the evidence, you can't manufacture evidence. It does not hold. It doesn't add up. And that's why when it went before the Supreme Court, the evidence did not even exist. Not to even mention it was weak. This whole trial was a travesty of justice. But I believe the judge who presided over that trial needs to be held accountable for his broad-based travesty of justice, the abuse of his role as a judge. I think we need to revamp our justice system because it's not working as it is. If Gloria Musu Scott wasn't as powerful as she was, if she wasn't as educated as she was, if she didn't have imparted a lot of Liberians as she did, to have the army of lawyers on her side, what would have become? And she even mentioned that today. She's interacting with other people. When she look at the evidence, they don't exist. But because they can't stand up for themselves, nobody knows their name. They are languishing behind bars.
20 seconds.
An abuse of power. But I mean, today, there's a spotlight on our justice system and how it can be manipulated against people, how it can be weaponized by the few in authority. And I believe it's a new dawn on the changes that are about to occur. And even those who are behind bar, who been accused falsely, I believe today is a victory for them because this is an awakening for all Liberians. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. Let's take you, Francis.
Yeah, Nelson. See, I mean, for me, out of this whole case, it just scared me for the average Liberian when it comes to the justice system. Our lower court is a mess. This not just not just what happened with this case, but let's just go back and look at also Jessica Lloyd, what happened to her in the lower court. Because she didn't have money or connection to run to the Supreme Court, that Lucas left the country. He's a free man. But you see, in this case, Cousin Scott, I mean, she's a household name in Liberia. So the connection is there. There's no way anybody thought that she was going to, they were going to rot in prison. Nobody in their wildest dream thought that was going to happen. But if you just go and look, few things happen in this case. People mentioned also the first thing the mistrial that is supposed to happen when the prosecutor, one of the team visited the jury. That's jury tampering. They're supposed to call a mistrial and probably sequester a new group of jurors for that case, but they kept it going. Who knows what happened? When he went over there, because not one, not twice, and he finally made $200. You see, so all these things just come to show that if you are poor in Liberia, there's no justice for you. No justice for you. Because
30 seconds.
Something I'm sorry?
30 seconds.
Something happened in that house. Something happened in the house. And look at the incompetence, right? That's one of the scary things again. They still represented Jessica and they failed her. They went against Councilor Scott and they failed the victim in that case. Because the pathology for the state, he's local, right? Liberian. You see the level of incompetence? I'm pretty sure he did not see that male DNA. But because he wanted to save face or not being embarrassed that a foreign pathologist came to Liberia and saw something that he did not find, he said, Yeah, we saw about this guy. I barely even asked for his copy of the autopsy report. There's nothing in it that mentioned male DNA found, but he just decided, let's just say he decided to keep it a secret, but it should be documented somewhere. That shows the high level of incompetence in our people in the country there too. But he wanted to say things why he lied, saying that, oh, he saw it too, but he just decided to ignore it. He did not find anything. That's so incompetent.
Thank you. Fambole, let's hear you.
I think Liberia need to move forward now. Liberia need to move forward because in the age of nanotechnology and crime of these, you still have people still running out there, and we still waiting for forensic tests. If this was a developed country, this would have been done and settled because it was clear. We all saw what exactly happened. Though doctors, though pathology we have on Liberia, I'm sorry to say, but nothing. That was a disgrace to find something you say we throw it away. You can't say that in any community. Nobody going to take you serious. Why is it that we always have to go outside and get people to come and investigate simple things in the modern time, 21st century, we say? And then people want to come out and start saying all kind of stuff. Oh, the old man, he did the girl. None of those things make sense. But Liberia is one of those places where people, especially the kind of people we had that was in leadership, this is the kind of things that they survive through. Things that does not make sense. And they try to make it, they force it on people to make it make sense. But we tell God thank you that today something happened and everybody saw it. And I continue to say that the Scott family have to fight and make sure that they pursue whosoever that was connected. The information they have to make use of them and bring those perpetrators to book.
Thank you. So we will take Bila and then Sandy will take us to the phone lines.
Yeah, thank you, Nelson. And let me thank the president for withdrawing the nomination or the appointment of Councillor Goon, who was the chief prosecutor in the case. And I think that was on the basis of not putting somebody into your government who would dilute a case or who would bring the justice ministry to a public ridicule. And when you withdrew the councillor, there was a lot of information that we heard. And I think it was a point where I do not want to have somebody.
You mean the withdrawal of the appointment of Councillor Lafia Good? Is that what you're speaking to?
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. And when I listen to him, and their case bring more light to us. There are more, I think 2 or 3 persons lose their job. The likes of the investigator who came on the show, Mr. Mulba, who is currently in the United States. People said he wanted to come to the United States. That's why he resigned from his post. And he said he don't want to be associated with anything that has to do with the issue of.
Thank you. I think Bida has some issues. So we will have to take Sandy. And Sandy, go ahead.
Well, Nelson, look, I agree with most of the speakers. The justice system in our country is weak, and today we can tell that what happened to Councillor Gloria Musu Scott and her family was strictly political. And as a country, for us to grow, we must avoid such political witch hunt, where we target certain individuals because we feel that they are not in our interest, and that's wrong. The evidences that have been provided by the state failed to provide them. So today, I mean, this is a failure on the state. This is a failure on our justice system. And as we need to look back into really how we can reform the justice system to really address issues like this one and many other issues. Like the councillor said, many have said it already. There are several Liberians behind bars, most of them based on just mere accusations. This is a win. I was a partial win for the Scott family. It's a partial win. I believe the big win will come when we can identify, persecute the real killer of the late Shalom Musu. I also agree. I think based on the full counts that you read earlier, I think the family have a strong case to go after some of the people that actually landed them in prison, like the judge, and also even folks from the government side that deliberately hide some of the truth, evidence, just to find them guilty.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. Well, at this point, we want to go to the phone lines. I don't know as to whether this is the luxury of time we intended to afford our folks, but at least they have some time. We can take calls for like 10 minutes and then we come back to do our opening, to do our closing. Sorry. So 0555-101075, and I'm gonna put the WhatsApp number up. So you can call in now and weigh in your thoughts. You're listening to the late night show, the late night politics on Spoon. I'm Nelson Colette, the rest of the team on set, Bilal, our brother Fambolet, Francis, Raymond, and of course, Mr. Jirau Sende is here as well. Let's take your calls 0555-101075. I'm going to put the WhatsApp up shortly. Hello, you're live. Your name and where you calling from?
Thomas Willie, and I'm calling from 21st Street.
So, Willie, let's hear you.
Well, concerning this case, the entire justice system is somehow broken because all the counts, the prosecutor, the entire argument was on suspicious, it was based on suspicious evidence. They didn't find the murder weapon, and for the lawyer, for the judge to send the woman to jail, it was wrong. And I believe the jury was tempered because the decision from the judge, the decision not only from the judge, the decision also made from the jurors. So if the jurors agree that the woman was guilty, then that means the juror was tempered. Because their entire argument, they were yet busy on hearsay. They say there was not evidence to show that the woman was wrong.
Thank you.
So,
thank you. Thank you very much for your input. Let's take another person. Hello, your name and where you calling from? Yes, sir. You're live. Let's hear you.
Joseph Doe calling from Pine Street.
Joseph, go ahead.
All right. This case, from where things going, I want to believe it has its roots from the death of the auditors. Somebody told me that. Because how you go after somebody, the first time they took the computers or laptop, because it's also information and they took it away. She reported it. And the government did not take it serious. And the second time, and the person told me that she was in defense of somebody the people that I got killed, the auditors I got killed because she was in the court going against government. I had to decide after all. I had to take the computer the first time. She was there in no way. Yeah? Then they want to incriminate her. My brother, you can't have somebody or child that you're spending money on. In the end, you want to kill your own child.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right.
Thank you. 0555-101075. I'm still trying to see if we can get the WhatsApp number ready. Hello, your name and where you calling from? Yes, sir. Go ahead. You're live.
Yeah, it's James Steve. Almost at the New York from Boston County.
Come again? Can you say your name again, sir?
This is James C. Brooks. Almost at the in John River from Boston County.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to congratulate the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices today because I was present in court. I myself was acquitted today in the case by the justice system led by the Chief Justice of this country. If you can remember, a man went to a praying woman in Pastor County.
Mm-hmm.
Then the associate mayor put a fresh things together. And then the so-called police or them went into that case and I was put into jail. Without any evidence today, I was acquitted. But that same justice system acquitted Gloria Musu Scott. I knew that lady for years. We all started in government together way back. So I must congratulate the justice system that dedicated that matter today, that related to us today. Even the lady, the third woman in jail, also she was acquitted today. But again, we will appeal to the government to make full running of the justice system of this country. What do I mean? Let them empower these judges. Let the judges be shared according to the branches of government, because they are the branches of government, and independently they stand in the administration of their locality.
Thank you.
So I must congratulate the justice system. They say they are done well. And it was not the only case. There are many cases today they are adjudicated. So thank you for this opportunity given me.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for making your input. Hello, your name and where you calling from? Hello.
Hello?
Can you walk away from your radio, please, or just cut the radio off?
Oh, sorry. How you doing?
Yeah, we okay. Let's hear you, sir.
Okay. But you see, people, wicked people don't have sense. George Solo, the former CDC chairman, he appeared on Spoon Show and he had a live confession there that one Simon to made him to understand that Gloria Musu Scott, they will leave him to go to jail. I mean, it is time for you to come over. So, man, we knew that one day God will intervene. The family side, to be honest with you. I'm so happy that I'm not happy for the death of Shallow. But it did not at all. Honestly, the case could not go nowhere. Because the main target was she. They actually wanted to get rid of her. But God turned it around. Honestly, she told you that there's a guy enter her house, room. And then she used a pepper spray.
Mm-hmm.
So, all the evidence are there. But they jumped over it because they wanted to score a political. But no sin go unpunished, no matter how long it takes. I'm sorry that I did not call my name. My name is Ibrahim S. Barkley, and I call for Single Lapasi community. Thank you very much. God is not sleeping. Your delay is not denial. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input. We'll take the last two calls from here, and then we wrap up tonight. There seem to be some issues with our
morning.
regular WhatsApp. Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good morning. And I think this is the from Kubafan community.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, and I think you see in Liberia we are looking for a job, but we put our job because of this. The jurors that are used in that case, the government should go after our jurors and make them to answer questions. Because if the government not start away, there will be jurors that will always make sure that people go in jail and get racking there. You see, the jurors are one of the key people that are serving the court today and they bring justice. But if you man politics and then get something and make sure that somebody going to jail for a long time, correct. Yeah, there are no issues there.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. We'll take the final caller here. Hello, please reduce the volume of your radio, please. Please do
Yeah,
that for us.
yeah. Listen.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, how you doing there?
Yes, sir.
Took my time and listened to all your panelists. You see, our God that we serve him, he is up there. He is the one that knows everything that happened. But you know, I'm so disappointed in people because if you look at anyway, my name is Washington Moriba. I come from Tokosta. If you look at, I will not have my name. If you look at from where the case started, right? In the first place, when the lady passed off, what did the Omar did? When she called the justice minister, and calling the justice minister, it was wrong first. I want you to realize first. And you know very well that justice minister, when we talk about law, how to destroy evidence, he knows it. Even she herself, where they couldn't find out that killed a woman. Okay, then where the other people were, where they were when they started the 8 times, where they were at? Where were the security? So these are questions that people need to be asking instead of all shaving bring on like the other government way. Me, I'm not backing CDC. But God is looking at us. You know that of thing happened in that place there. By taking the lady from taking the fainting in the bathroom, blood wasting on them, they start touching her, taking her. You know that of thing happened in that place there. But you know, government, the way sometimes some people that they can set to go do investigation that the problem. But we that thing. I mean, they are saying it because me have been God. The Oma, she knows something the truth. She lie on her oath. And God will punish her for what she did. God will punish her for it. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input. Hello.
Hello,
Yeah, I don't know. When you're calling, you have to either walk away from the radio or you cut the radio off. Just listen to the phone. But
So I just yeah. How you doing,
go
brother?
ahead. Yes, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, nothing. Firstly, I'm appreciate you for your time being away at the hour to carry on such a show and your fellow panelists. And also, I'm commend myself of being awake to listen to this phone second session. But I would just want us to understand something that our people that are saying is that there is no good gift from the devil. Every good gift from the devil is a trap. We should understand that the past government had a lot of people in the judicial system. We should know. And we should look at this case that is awaiting the Natala Mage case, wherein we are seeing that case and portraying that a lot of decisions, the past government, are going to face injustice in the country. So I'm thinking since this morning, since the hearing of the old lady case, and I've been thinking, I said that these guys in Chima, who I know the Chief Justice had a strong connection with Eddie Slow, and that Yusuf Kaba had a strong connection with CDC, and some of these guys who were placed into that area before this past government, we should know it's a trap that they have set in order to defend them in this new government, that they are making Laben people to believe in them to say yes, this case, Mr. Councilor Scott won the case, so Laben people will believe in the justice at the end of the day and start to do things all the way, and Laben will cry. So for me, I thank God that today the Osman is free because I know one other person who been following the show, who been following Spoon Talk, seeing the case happen, who been following Spoon, who been following the internet, who been observing that case, who been going for me two different affiliated the Temple of Justice on that case.
Thank you.
Yeah, on that case. But we pray that things go better. The judicial system, we know we cannot praise them now. You're chicken, we praise them now. So we look forward to see development from them.
Let's hold you there, sir. Well, that's how we like to end up with the core-in segment of the program. Sorry to our folks from especially the diaspora who will most times call using the WhatsApp. There's some issue with our WhatsApp here tonight. But let's do our closing. Let's do 1 minute each because we are out of time already. And so let me set the timer now, and then we can kickstart the conversation from here. Starting with you, Toure, and then we can go Bila, Fambule.
Thank you very much, Nelson. Thank you as always. Nelson, today, I must admit, you guys, you made all of us proud. The way you and Damo and the rest of the crew over there were able to play by play that set and just go in on that whole happiness was magnificent, bro. Thank you so very much. But look, and all that is playing in the hands of the fact that we have a different country now, and Liberia will never return back to a fold. And we all will have to play that and play into that energy and try to help this government move forward. Because at the end of the day, we can all agree on one thing: that Liberia is the only country that we have, and we have to do everything to protect it in a mix of, us having different political, persuasions or ideology. But what remains constant is the fact that when you have one country, a country that stands for one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Bila, let's say your closing. 1 minute. Your timer is set.
Yes. Thank you as always. And I'd like to appreciate those that phone in. And to the brother who said he disappointed, that's fine. It is always the case that people will be disappointed. But I want you to understand this: the law is not how we see it. The law is reasoning and logical reasoning and common sense. So I want you to understand that most of the things that happen, like I was saying, their kids give a lot of education. And there are a lot of things happening. People lose their job because they don't want to be affiliated with any mass practices in our justice system.
30 seconds.
And basically, I want to thank the president again. You cannot have somebody who said to be a legal luminary, legal people calling all sorts of names. Then you have that person who served on a case to be a chief prosecutor and did not look at all of the procedure as to how you can prosecute somebody. Then we should start to question some lawyer in that country. I think it was a good
Thank
show.
you.
Thanks to all of the panelists that keep doing these things to strengthen our democracy.
Thank you, Bila. Fambule, let's hear you.
Thank you so much, Nelson. Thank you, all of you guys. I'm happy to be here once again. Nelson, I want to tell you thank you. And the Spoon family, I follow you guys. I mean, we can be at work, but yet and still following everything that happening back home. Because Liberia is I don't know whether anybody can take that out of us. So and one more thing, doesn't I just stood out on you today, got me glued to that particular reporting today you're doing.
Come on, man.
I mean, Nelson was well just I say I enjoy the guy today. The guy was well
Come
positioned.
on,
I say, my man, I enjoy the presentation today. You guys did extremely well. And we pray that you guys continue doing what you guys doing. And Liberia will one day be there. I know it's a gradual process. We all just gotta keep supporting any way we can, and we pray for the best. Liberia will get better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fambule, for your input. Brother, let's take Francis. Your 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it was another good show. A lot happening in the country, but we just gotta pray, man. We just gotta pray for our justice system. I mean, a lot of people don't have the connection. People are sitting in prison that don't even know what they are charged with, or if they are going to be charged with anything. But because they don't have a lawyer, or they can't afford a lawyer to stand on their behalf, and also some of them can't even make bail because they don't have any money. As we can clearly see, Gloria Scott, she's a household name, so there's no way she was going to rot in prison. The lower court is a mess. They did injustice to Jessica Lloyd, and they mess up the case with Gloria Scott. We know
20
something
seconds.
happened in that house. somebody went in that house. Somebody killed that girl in that house. So there's no way it should be this difficult. And they come up with all this crazy talk and making all these mistakes, tampering with the jury and stuff like that. I mean, only God can help our country. Our system is terrible.
Thank you very much, Francis. So Raymond, take your 1 minute, sir. Your time is rolling. Your
When I
closing
was a
minute.
boy growing up, I always heard my dad say, "There's nothing happens without evidence." It only takes the person who's searching to know what it's searching for and how to pick up the evidence. And thank God today, those who said they were prosecuting Gloria Musu Scott and her family, what they presented did not add up. It did not amount to anything called evidence. And it was glaring. And this has been glaring to us all along. Look at the new revelation we received today. They remove all the shallow nails. So to answer your question, the previous fumbler, the guy who did it up top said he knew, but he was biased. There was a conspiracy. So he removed the nails to clean out the but we know how we do some shady jobs in our country. As much he was intentional to erase evidence, when this new pathologist came, he was still able to dig deep and was still able to find out because he had the expertise. And we thank God today, like I said, all those who are behind bars, man, and your hopes are gone. You know that the system got you.
Thank you,
There's a
Raymond.
spotlight on our judicial system today. And thank God, people like Gloria Musu Scott, I would say thank God, because the Bible said all things work together
Thank you, Raymond.
for good to them that love God.
1 minute,
Those
sir.
innocent people that are there, I hope she will start up a program, a movement that will save some
Thank you.
people from behind bars. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandy,
Yeah,
are you in a
so
position to take us home?
yeah, well, let me take you home here. Nelson, let me use Anthony Gay's words in the chat room. Unfortunately, he's not able to join the show. But Anthony said something in the chat room, and I agree. Anthony said we need patriotic prosecutors, not political prosecutors. And I think what we saw, I must agree with it, Teray. What we saw in this case is that those who prosecuted this case were more political than patriotic. That convicted Madam Gloria Musu Scott. And we see this political decision making in our country that do not reflect the true nature of Liberia and what we stand for as a people. People always want to hurt other people that do not support their political affiliations or their political ambition. And that is wrong. You know, I'm not saying we have fair justice in most countries or everywhere. Even here in the United States, you will find some cases that, you know, you will question, but not to the extent that we see in Liberia. The broad day injustice that we see in our country is
30
not
seconds.
okay. So for our growth, we need to depart from just attaching politics to everything, and we need to allow the true judiciary or justice system to reign in our country. And that is across every sector of Liberia. And that's how we're going to build Liberia. That's how we're going to coexist as a people. And that's how we're going to, you know, leave a better Liberia for generations to come. Again, congratulations to the Scott family. Like I said, it's a partial wins. I look forward to a bigger win where we will find the true murderer of Shalom Musu. Thank you.
Well, on the dot, it's 2:30 a.m. in Liberia. It's been a great show. I want to say thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you to Ray, the Batara boy. Thanks to you, Soiree, Bila Soiree. Thanks to our brother Fambule. Thanks to our dear brother Francis Jabate. Thanks to you, Raymond Zeze. Your people in Cinco called the other day, say they can listen to you every night, and Christmas coming, you should remember them. And they say they get one
I mean,
charity.
I didn't see you Tabata in us again.
But thank you, Cindy, and it's been a great show. We look forward to being here tomorrow. Until then, have a good night, everyone. To our audience, we appreciate all of you. And
Always, man. To the audience, man.
And bye bye for now.
They're the best.